Welcome everybody to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. I'm happy to have a guest that you guys might be familiar with or you might not be. Her and I actually used to host a show when I was doing the Round Table Show. Well, technically we met through Typical Skeptic, which is where I've met a lot of the people that I'm close to now. Thank you very much, Rob. We love you. Um, and then Jayme and I kind of spoiler, went on to co-host a show together. And my guest tonight is Jayme Jacobson. Jayme is a gifted intuitive, a tarot card reader, an energy worker, and studies the methods of working with universal energies in order to positively shift her own reality and help others do the same. She's also known as Angel Wings. Jayme, thank you for coming to the After Dark Show. How have you been?
Oh, great. Rough. There's rough stuff going on with all the high energy and everything.
Yeah, a lot of us have been getting smoked with that. Like, I know, like, just, I guess we can jump right into it if you want. Something before we get into the questions is like, I know you know a lot about the Schumann resonance and these solar flares. A lot of us seem to be getting these energetic highs and lows. What do you think that is about? Like, what's going on with that?
Oh, that's literally the fluctuation in the Earth rising in frequency. The Earth itself, and it is like trying to raise it above it. And people always say, well, it's going into like 5D. It's more of a consciousness state and physical, but at the same time, it's met with a like hard energy, like against us, because it doesn't want the change, but yet a part of it does. So you get that conflict of energies where the Schumann resonance spikes, and when the solar flares spike at the same time, I don't have to ground at all. It's actually kind of nice. When both are in sync, it's amazing. But when the solar flares really hit you hard is when you have to ground and hold your energy body literally in yourself, is what you're doing. You're holding all your energy, your etherical form part of it that's connected to you. You're holding it to earth to keep it grounded. So you're bringing that light in, because what we're all doing as one is actually raising the earth with us.
I get that. And do you think that's why so many of us are so tired lately? Like, I know on social media and talking to my guests and just chit chatting with people that are spiritually aware, it seems like a lot of us are just constantly exhausted, and it seems almost endless, like just a constant tired. Do you think that has a lot to do with this?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because what a lot of people don't understand is the fact that you're literally changing your DNA, and your physical form is actually changing too in small increments, but it's changing. Well, we feel it as small, but it's actually a lot. You're literally changing your entire physical disposition and not even realizing it. Because literally on my birthday, as you've seen, I ended up like suddenly out of nowhere extremely conductive, and I can turn a light on with my hands.
I actually have that, if you'll bear with me a second. I don't know how to share a screen, and I'm doing this on my phone, so sometimes just bear with me a second.
Okay.
Boop.
Okay, this is gonna have to be really fast. Okay, no light. Light. No light. Light. And see? Ta-da!
There's a second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just 1 second.
See that? No light. No light. Light. Seriously? That is me standing on my light. Oh my god.
I would absolutely say you are quite highly conductive. Like,
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not one to be skeptical. I've seen some things and I'm usually like, okay, logically, the only thing I could see that it could possibly be that would be out of the ordinary, she's holding her phone. Maybe that's it. So I tried it myself. Doesn't work. I can't do it. My Canadian Spinge is in the kitchen right now. She watched me try it just to see if I could debunk it because I can. I don't know if you guys are catching this or if I'm just energy sensitive. I can barely even touch my cell phone anymore because I can feel the electrical current coming through it. Like it vibrates my hand. It actually kind of stings at times. So I was like, okay, maybe that's it. Maybe these phones are so amped up now. Maybe she's passing the current of the cell phone. But no, it had nothing to do with that. And I am just absolutely fascinated and was amazed when you sent me that. Like that was just something I've never seen.
Well, I surprised myself. My feet were even wet. My feet were wet when I stepped on it because I just take my boots off for being outside. I'm just like, and then I'm always getting mad at everybody and saying electricity don't mix with water. I made myself laugh.
Well, we showed that video on BG Cast as well. And one thing I want to clarify is you fascinated a professionally licensed electrician with your ability. He's not just a podcast host. His day job is he is a professional electrician. So
Oh,
for him to
wow.
say conductive, you were freaking highly conductive, girl. Like you have some energy passing through you. That's all I can say. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, I've had someone come on my live before too, say it was, try to call it Tau, basically life force energy, but I think I've gone past the life force energy and it's straight up direct connection to source itself. From unlocking all our chakra systems, because I've gone through, that's the thing I've been working on through my with Ascended Masters, is unlocking my entire chakra system all the way up to the tippy top and unlock the bridge. And what a lot of people don't understand is there's hundreds of different energy points throughout that whole thing too. So I'm not just unlocking chakras, I'm unlocking an actual dimension. You're unlocking levels of dimensions, and to be in that dimensional space that's yours, you have to clear it out if it's compromised. And a lot of people are, and that's their problem. You get too scared where you're at because there's something in your field you don't understand. A lot of it is fear-based, and when you get past that and try to see things from multiple different perspectives and figure out how to heal yourself and how to find someone to help you if you can, but you still have to go through that inner process because it's your inner self. They're your chakras. You have to clear them yourself. Even with assistance, you're still doing it because you have to learn. Because if you can't, there's a lot of people get frustrated with the portals and the dimensional talking. If you can't support your etherical self in those dimensions, you can't be there. You just can't. That's what a lot of people misunderstand. You have to go through the inner process to get that far.
I understand it, but I want to jump back just a second, and I'm going to start with the big question I ask everybody before we get too deep into the etherical and stuff. I just want people to get to know you. So the big question is, what was your moment of awakening? What was your tipping point? What made you realize things aren't what we have been told or had them explained to us as, and like energy, and because we're taught the material science system of reality, and it actually is far more expanded, and like you're saying, it's energies and stuff. What was the catalyst that kicked off your understanding?
Well, since I was a kid, I always been fascinated with all of it. I think it's literally like a subconscious thing. There's literally stuff playing back in your subconsciousness that you're not aware of all the time. And it's all of a sudden something will click that'll cause you. But for me, it was more like an activation because some of us are actual guardians that don't understand that part as well. And some of us are connected on a higher level. And that's why we're almost like turned off. But I was literally, it's going to be hilarious. I literally had no idea I was telepathic until instantly I had in the middle of work, and that's why a lot of the spiritual stuff, most of your awakening and a lot of it is during a stress-free moment when you're not working, when you're not at work. Like you mentioned, you quit your job, and I lost my job, and when I lost my job, whoosh, it even kicked off even more. It's like, it's serious, because you have to have that time to meditate and be in your own bubble and just be in that moment to reach out and feel more. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain really, but I didn't realize I was telepathic until suddenly I had 4 beings, Elohim or angelic. They were they were plasmic beings, kind of like a bright white with blue tint. And I don't care what anyone says, for me it was a positive experience. I had 4 of them. Someone mentioned maybe like an angelic council of sort. Yep, the dragons. And just out of nowhere, I zoned out cleaning something, totally minding my business, and suddenly I literally visually saw these things speaking to me, and they were giving me a download of information, waking me up and saying, they were telling me everything down to, I have to tell the entire world I am this, and I'm sitting there. And then I got really thinking about what they were saying, and I would even say it out loud. It was like a verification for me to say out loud what they were saying, so they knew I understood what I was hearing. And so at that moment, I realized I was more than a channeler. I was a medium, a bridge between dimensional worlds. And I was in the middle of running a machine. It was a pultrusion machine, which I have to change out materials. And so I'm sitting there going, it felt like hours passed. It was like 2 hours, and I started worrying, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm at work. Wait, hold on. Realization you're doing something important. And I'm like, and I didn't even know what to say. I didn't want to offend them, but I like apologized. I said, I love all this information. Thank you for telling me, but I have to go back to work and check on my stuff. And then I looked at the time, and I literally only lost 15 minutes. And that entire download of information that took hours, 15 minutes went by. I was just like, what the heck?
I've experienced time dilation with downloads and other experiences that I've had. I've told the story. I don't know if I've ever told you the story, but I was going to pick up Spinja the one day at work, and I was driving down the same road. We live between like the Badlands and the Rockies, so we're kind of in the prairies, right? There's not a lot to see. And something glinted in like my left side, the driver's side of my truck, and I'm like, what the hell? And then it kind of came in front of the windshield. And I remember the last thing I thought struck me as funny, because it wasn't what was that, it was not again. And then I was somewhere else and having a completely different experience. And then I kind of remember shaking my head, and then I was 2 minutes down the road and at my turn. So like I had on this plane of existence, I lost 2 minutes, but I was somewhere else for a very, very long time. So I actually get what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even right now, as soon as we connected and started talking, I am literally seeing shapes and seeing all sorts of things. They're trying to communicate and show me and tell me things. I'm just like, I gotta pay attention to what I'm talking about too.
I get it.
I'm still trying to interpret what they show me too. Sometimes it's like bizarre shapes, and then I gotta sit there and do like a questionnaire, like, is this happening, and is this doing this, and what is that? Is do you mean I have a block? They'll go, yes. And I go, oh, okay. Because then that's sometimes when they're showing you through your third eye, when like something like this or a square, sometimes it's because you have a block. And they being like an energetic block, something blocking you from doing something. And I'll pick that up from everybody. Like that's what part of my gifts of healing is I'll pick that from people too, and I'll unlock it and then realize, oh, I think I just helped somebody else that wasn't me. My my energy like literally goes everywhere.
That actually kind of ties into my next question is like you've put a lot of time and effort into understanding the chakra system, the subtle body, and the energies that surround us. To start with, what is your understanding of the chakra system? Like, if we were coming at this from a, I just heard that word for the first time, what is a chakra? What is the chakra system? So people will understand this. Because I know myself, when I first started rubbing my eyes, I was like, what the fuck is a chakra? Right. So it
Yeah. Well, I'll give you the basics, what it's for, what it's meant for, and then I'll explain the individual sections. Because that actually, that's what my class is. I was going to start a chakra system class, a master ascension class, because I'm literally 2 to 3 hour long video while I energetically work on you. I'm explaining each one and each step. So I'll do like a 3 hour session on just the root chakra system, because I'm literally unlocking multiple energetic things in your feet. They're like portals, and that's what this chakra system is. Like the root chakra is basically a portal to the first dimension. With most people, that's what, and it's in your energetic body, and you also have that in your physical. And when you talk about a chakra alignment, you're literally aligning your etherical form to your physical. That's why I have so much energy, is because my higher self is literally fused in my physical more than not most, but more than a lot. I like to try to be very vague on that because I don't even know how advanced some people can be and don't realize it too. I think some people are advanced so far in not being allowed to know, just to protect them as well, because there's a lot going on that protect us too.
I agree with that. And that's another question I like to ask people as well is, do you think that we're just creator beings that have been convinced to basically go on to autopilot, right? Like, I know my answer to this, but go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like we were turned off and taken over by another race, and like another that literally takes our energy. Because I had that show up so many times. People trying to say your chakra system is irrelevant. It's an energy harvesting tool, and I said no, it's not. But that's because I understand that you can remove all that. You can remove all your etheric cores. You remove all AI that don't belong in your system. Yeah, literally, there's people will call etherical cords. Sometimes you'll have AI cords that actually connect like an actual like outlet. And so when you're removing cords, you actually have to be very specific and detailed to remove all the ports out of you too, because you'll actually have like ports installed in your energy body. Yeah.
Is that another reason that a lot of us would be feeling drained all the time? Maybe whatever is attaching these cords is amping it up, because from what I understand, a lot of this construct is about to come to an end and they're just having a feeding frenzy before they're done.
Pretty much. And I shut them down. I instantly say, nope, I'll be aware when I wake up tired and feel like crap. See, and that's what I do is I do a full body cleanse and an entire chakra cleansing system when I get up in the morning, and I'll check for cords. I'll check for everything when I get up and get rid of it all, because there's some things that try to mess with us when they're asleep too. And sometimes some of us are even on missions that aren't aware of, because we're actual guardians and guard some of these portals. And what the funny part is, guarding portals are literally your chakra system. There are people that try to infiltrate you through your own chakra system and go through those portals. And that's what a lot of entities. Yeah.
You actually sent, I don't have the picture, but you sent me a picture and it was kind of interesting and I wanted to share it if you can explain it. It was the one about clapping. I found that fascinating.
Oh yeah. See, each of your hands has a energetic portal. And depending on if you're DNA matches with a certain architect you are, you can unlock those to do what I do, which is the plasma energy healing through my hands. I literally have energy that flows through my hands like plasma. Oh, of course, you can't see it because it's plasma in this dimension, but I'm assuming in a higher dimension, though, it probably would be more visible.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, and that's why clapping actually clears, because you're releasing energy when you clap through those portals in your hands. And when you're fusing this together, think about it as the feminine and masculine coming together. You're basically creating like a massive energy wave through your hands clapping. Because then it like
and
ripples out.
when we're clapping, the picture you sent, when we're clapping for someone, it's sending that positive intention of appreciation and gratitude out through that energy, right?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, you can put
Okay.
intentions with that. Like if something's really bothering you and you can't figure it out, you can put intentions to clear your area by clapping. So it can do a
That
lot.
I think that's very valuable. Like, is there other ways that people, of course, you should have a full session. Is there ways people can clear their own energy? Like you were saying at the start of your day, you tend to just go through your routine. Are you able to share that so, like, people can try some of this for themselves? Because I think that's a big part of it too, is being able to do some of this work ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's what my classes are for too. That's what I want to do is I want to teach each person how to unlock their stuff, how to heal it, how to energetically clear and remove things in your chakra system. Because yeah, and I do it through crystals. Like because I have energy through my hands, so I amplify the crystals. Like this one, for instance, works on multiple chakras. So just holding it here a while and doing kind of a I could actually work on some people in the audience if they wanted to even and clear out some of their chakra for them. But again, they would still have to do it their own. It wouldn't stay there permanently. So that's what a lot misunderstand too is that's a constant process. You have to keep working at it.
And that's something I've brought up before is like, it's great. Like, Spinja practices Reiki and you have your energy modalities, and Matt Mornian is wonderful at what he does. But what a lot of people don't seem to comprehend is like, you can't just get one of these sessions and go back to doing the same crappy stuff you were doing, because it's just going to draw in the same type of thing. Like, that's like going on a diet and then running to McDonald's, right? You're just going to
Yeah.
fill yourself up with garbage.
Well, and I just started a new thing, realizing that I'm doing all this chakra thing, but and all this hard energy work, but your physical really plays a part in it too. And you're really fusing both together as one. And in order to do that, you're going to have resistance from your energetic self if there's too much crap in your physical. So you're not just clearing your etherical form too, you're clearing out your physical as well. It's like they both work together. And until I could physically feel the difference in all the energies, people probably don't even realize that either. Because I could tell just because by sensing the difference when I did frequency. And see, that's the thing that frequency works a lot. It's the matter of finding the right ones. And so I try to post in my Discord, my Patreon. I've been starting to post more healing frequencies left and right. Like when they come to me, they'll literally show up in my feed, like my guides bringing them to me when I need something. I have frequencies for everything.
No, and you've often shared them with me, and I do listen, usually in the tub, just to be a little personal, but I do end up listening to them. That's where I do a lot of my meditation, is in the tub, because it's the only place I can really focus.
Mm-hmm.
You were speaking about grounding earlier. Are you able to run us through the basics of how to ground? Like, because a lot of people that tune into my show are just rubbing their eyes as well and don't know what to do with these things, and just hear the terms but don't know how to put it into practice.
Yep. Well, I'm going to get a little in depth here for a minute because it really needs an in-depth explanation because I don't think they realize the importance of grounding too on an energetic level. Well, and I'm in an apartment, so it's hard for me to ground, and so I pick up a lot of like this one, for instance, is a grounding crystal. And this one, like, literally will slam you to the ground. It'll slam you to the floor. You will suddenly feel heavy.
Okay. And what is
And
that
so
one?
I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up. I made meaning to look it up, but this is like a serious grounding one. So I have like even like crystal and rocks, just regular rocks. These are like little crystals. Just hold on to a rock and just focus on grounding. You can even focus on a tree. You could put picture of mine. I mean, a lot of this is you can do because it's creating. What you're doing is creating a psychic connection to the earth. You're literally, when I hold this, when I hold the rock, or when I think of a tree, I will envision the tree with all the roots, and I'll envision them roots going down into the earth as far as it can, all the way to the core, and wrapping around everything it can, and expand all those roots out as far as you can as well. And that's your like a psychic anchor created to help you ground as well. Because there's more to it than just going out in nature, because some people can't. So you really got to figure out visual things. And right now, I mean, literally standing on a big rock.
No, I love that. And Jason says he walks on moss.
No, that's great.
It really is a practice that I think a lot of people need to get into, because a lot of us are off center and don't even realize, and that needs to be more.
Yeah, well, yeah, and if you can't ground yourself, you're not able to integrate all the energy coming into your physical form either. It's harder to adjust to the energy coming in, and that's playing a real important crucial part lately too, with all the solar flares increasing. I mean, it's literally like hitting like some type of maximum where it's really going to start hitting even harder, and so grounding that out is going to be important. I even got to I haven't used it and I need to. I even got to the point where I need a grounding mat, an actual grounding energy. And with me being so conductive, honestly, I'm not sure how that's going to work now. But you plug it into the grounding part, and you're using grounding energy through a mat, and you sleep on it or wherever you want it, under your feet, where you're sitting. You can do whatever with it, but it really comes in handy because, and I think that's why some people can't sleep too. And it helps you be able to go to sleep. But also at the same time, about the sleep, sometimes you're just energetically buzzed and can't sleep. It's not that big a deal, actually. People will freak out. And that's another thing about perspective and a belief system. You got to be able to bend and let go at times and see something from a different viewpoint.
I was going to ask you too, because you and I seem to have been having very similar experiences, almost parallel awakenings at points. Have you had many, I don't know the best way to word this, while sleeping, have you had multidimensional conscious experiences like I have? And I don't mean necessarily SSP, like myself, kind of like Rob, I will go to sleep and just live another life for weeks and months at a time, and then I wake up back here, and I almost swear it's another version of my consciousness, because I know my consciousness isn't just going to hang out for 8 or 9 hours while I go to sleep, right? So I don't know if we become more in tune with another version of our consciousness, or
well, yeah, that's what a lot of people don't realize too, is like how you're connected with some archangels. That's literally, some of us literally have an actual tiny bit of a soul aspect of that actual angelic being, like in our soul. They're like soul fragments that were merged together So it's not, so when people talk about being a hybrid, there's way more to it than just simply splicing DNA. It's an entire soul level. Your literal soul is like fragments together with another. And so you will, like when you're another fragment of yourself is present here on Earth elsewhere, you can become aware of it. And it gets trippy, like in dreams, because I've noticed I'll have really deep in depth dreams. Like I had this dream about a car in an accident, and then in my dream I literally had the realization that's not my car, that's someone else. And but that was like 5 years, like a long time ago. I had that dream, but then I ended up meeting that person physically and explained the dream, and I said, "Wait a minute! It's like we were dream connected." It was crazy. So it's like a shared aspect of some sort.
I've actually had similar experiences, and that's why I asked. Like,
Yep.
and not just with aspect. Like a coworker just started, and he was at my place of employment for like 2 days, and I stopped him in the shop and went, "Man, I fucking know you." He's like, "I know you too." I'm like, "It's not from here." He's like, "No, it's not," and he's into this kind of stuff too, and I was like, okay. And he's like, okay. And we just left it at that because we don't want to go full tinfoil hat when we're supposed to be working, right? But it's like, no, we know from somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with aspects and stuff, some of us are stronger created hybrid versions of a like a familiar connection like the archangels. But what a lot of us don't realize either is how many times have we evolved, though? How many times have we ascended that way and expanded our consciousness? How many times have we done this already? So I just feel like the knowledge we know now, or well, not now, but that we know, but like we're been fed, the program that we're fed is older than dirt. I think it's like old false information, and it's been twisted so many times people lost the concept of so much of themselves. So that's why I think we are way powerful, more than we say we are, and that's seriously not out of ego either. That's being legit, learning what I have, unlocking all these memories, unlocking all this knowledge, all the way back to the giants, Atlantis, everything just seems like it was such old information, and it's like we're reliving it. So it's almost like we're all aspects of a fallen earth that fell into this 3D thing, and we're literally fighting off parasitic things to rise back up and help the rest of this human race evolve, because I feel like it's like a pocket of earth that got lost. And we're trying to like save people's consciousness, or almost, or something, I mean, it's way deeper than people just don't comprehend.
Oh, it's incredibly complex. And you kind of alluded to something, and I'm even going to pull up Black Dragon's thing here. Everyone has special abilities. Most don't comprehend what they're capable of doing. And I want your take on, do you think, because, okay, my personal opinion, and I just want to hear yours, is we've been so spoon-fed into a system of reliance and compliance, right? The sociological construct that we're now in, like society as a whole, like everything is so convenient that we've stopped using abilities that we used to have, right? Like, pyrokinesis. Well, I don't need it anymore. I have a lighter, right? Something like that. Do you think that we used to have abilities and clairs that have been slowly weaned out of us and taken away? Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, definitely, because I know I have all the clairs, and that's what's the hardest part for me, is something when I went through so much hard trauma to wake up and went through so much stuff. It's like when someone hit the light switch, they all came on at once, and I'm sitting here trying to sort what the hell they do. I mean, it's like, is there an instruction manual? It would be nice.
Right?
Well, 'cause people don't understand what they're getting into. You're either called schizophrenic, you're crazy, oh, there's no such thing, and people just want to shut you down for your own belief system. And then just like, what? Just because someone has a wild imagination, an actual imagination to be able to understand it from a higher perspective, you're going to sit there and dummy them down. And I almost feel like that's part of the other program trying to not let you awaken too.
I think you're right. And you and I were talking about this before the show, and this is not medical advice, so please don't get angry. I came online as soon as I stopped taking what I was prescribed, right? So I don't think you're very far off. Like, there's a lot of us that are being deliberately blocked, right? I'll even say it, for 30 years through poverty and prosperity, I always seemed to have alcohol. It was weird. Like, I don't drink anymore because it's part of what I've changed about myself, but I swear I was just always able to get alcohol, and that was done intentionally to keep me at a lower vibration from understanding any of this.
Well, I think a lot of it is part of us just wanting to have fun too, and not realizing it. Because I used to do the drinking thing too because I used to be able to like drink people under the table even, because it didn't affect me like other people because of our higher energy. Some people are just, I think some of us were just born at a higher frequency already because of what we could do, and it's almost like we were turned off at a point for our protection as well.
I think so, because I've even said it, if I understood a lot of what I understand now when I was that person, it wouldn't have went well. Right?
Yeah.
When you start to get some understandings, it's like, wow, I could have really screwed some people over if I understood this back then. So no, I think we're kept from a lot of our understanding for our own good. I think you're absolutely onto something there. Speaking of understanding, if somebody was just starting to understand these subjects, what would you suggest that they do to become more in tune with things like their chakra system and subtle body?
Well, I tell them to research it on their own too. I mean, there's a lot of things I can help them with, but really, it's a self discovery too. You got to be able to let go of certain perspectives on a lot of things, and that's how I learned about my chakra system. Actually, myself was just going and because when someone was telling me how do I balance out my emotions, because a key part of our gifts is actually connected to our emotions and empathic ability, because a lot of us with the empathic being able to sense energy is a lot to do with our emotions too. And I'm like, well, how the heck do I balance my emotions, and so that's where I stumbled across the chakra system, because I started reading how the chakra system, if you're mad or angry, you work on your root system. So that's what I started doing. So intuitively myself, I just followed what I thought would help me, and that's started me learning the entire system. And it's not even just 7. I started looking into it further and further, and realized I unlocked my 8, and then I unlocked that, and then I unlocked so many, and then I didn't realize I was compromised. And that's another thing too, is really you're gonna intuitively try to discern it yourself. I mean, I know it's hard, but I didn't even realize for a year or 2 years I was actually compromised myself. But it wasn't even me. It went even on a deeper spiritual journey to realize I was compromised, connected to someone else that was. And so I finally severed that connection and realized I wasn't even compromised in the dimension I thought I was. It was someone completely different. They kept trying to explain that to me, how someone else's energetic form was in someone else's body. Like, that's an actual identity swap. So and then I even had to deal with a mimic, a mimic that tries to mimic your energy. It becomes this creature that tries to, but it can't. See, that's one thing that most people don't realize either, is no matter how bad someone tries to false tell you information, it's not going to work to a point. Once you realize it, the whole illusion just goes away. It's the matter of breaking through that and realizing what they're telling you is a bunch of BS. And so that's why you got to be mindful who you're discerning with and working with too, energy wise, because some healers aren't even healing you. Sometimes they're looshing off your energies. Sometimes they do it to take your life force. It's crazy.
I agree, and as you know, I've ran into a couple of people that had some great esoteric wisdom, some wonderful healing information, but were not completely healed themselves. And we've since parted company, but I absolutely see what you're saying, because there's always signs when you run into a healer that isn't fully healed, and you should not ignore those red flags. From
Well,
my personal
exactly.
experience,
Yeah,
I could give.
exactly. And like, I want to try to keep it positive too, but at the same time, you kind of have to go into the dark side to reveal the light part of it. You got to remove the dark or sift through it, because I'll be honest, half those people that charge outrageous amount of money aren't really doing squat. They aren't. They're not helping. They're all the source energy will not support someone that is all about the money, all about themselves, self gratitude, all this. And, and I hate to use the term, but sin, because that's so loosely, it's not necessarily a sin, but there's something that goes against the source creator. They're not going to support it. The beings and spirits want to help those that are trying to help humanity as a whole, not trying to screw people over in their faith.
I think
And
that's true as well.
even though
Um,
I'm trying to charge a little bit of money, but I'm doing it to try to make ends meet just enough, and I even give it back to those shows that I support too, and I try to give back to other people as much as I can if I make enough too. So it's an equal give and take. Be able to maintain yourself, but yet help others is, there's a fine line there.
Absolutely, there is a huge difference between what you're doing and, well, what I will call a gatekeeper or a charlatan does. Because if you're charging people an exorbitant amount of money for something they need to heal themselves, I personally think you're a terrible person. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're literally just trying to be reimbursed for the energy that you have put forth into ascertaining this knowledge yourself, I think that's fair. That's balance. There's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And that's what a
I
lot of
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot of people don't realize. It's like you can't buy your way out. It don't work like that. It's stepping stones to help improve you. And what it mainly is to get your intuitive discernment online and sharpen your tools. That's really what it's for. The healing, it's to release stuff that don't belong there. It's to remove interference, but through removal of that interference, you learn to do it yourself. Oh, is you bacon? I have a refrigerator now. I can get bacon.
I just wanted to share that. Oh, and that.
Oh yes, yes, dragons and the bacon. I know. They're probably. Oh, that's probably why they wanted me to eat the bacon pea soup, because I didn't have bacon, and that's close as I could get.
Oh, there we go. There's a bit of a shout out there. Angel taught me not to fight or fear, but to love. It is the power. I tell them to be cool, and they can stay. Angel gets negative entities because they know she can help transmute them.
Oh yeah.
And that was,
Oh, thanks for sharing
yeah.
that, because it brings
So
up a new topic.
absolutely, let's roll into that.
He raises a good point. Thank you, Tennessee. A lot of people that are working on their chakra systems or awake, and even you, Don, work with spiritual guides all the time. And some of them are going to be negative, but sometimes if you can transmute like I do that bad energy into positive, they'll bring me actually that energy or a being that needs help, and I'm clearing them. Because I learned if I put my hand out, I can feel an energetic presence up there. If there's something hanging out and I'm getting a negative vibe, I'll just hold my hand up there, and it's almost like I'm absorbing or kind of like eating up their negative energies, and I process it through my solar plexus and turn it into positive energy, and then they're healed and grateful, and that's why I get so many hanging out. So you're not
That's really
necessarily you're not necessarily working with bad beings. Sometimes they're beings that need help. And dragons are portals, and sometimes they're bringing me even someone's higher self that needs help.
that makes a lot of sense energetically. Like I actually completely understand what you're saying. Where did I go here? Um, I want to jump over and this one's actually a personal conversation I was going to have with you anyway, but we'll do it on the air. On your channel, which will be in the description, I got to grab that from you after. No, I have it. Never mind. I put it in there. Haha. You mentioned black magic and hexes. Can you walk us through the process of getting rid of these things? Because I'm going to say it, my ex-wife was a practicing witch, and there seems to be some certain barriers in mine and Spinge's life that seem almost impossible that they're still there. One of which is finance, but that's nobody's business. Like, it doesn't matter if we're both working or not. We always seem to end up with the same amount of money, right? We have just enough to just get by. If we save money, it gets taken away. If we just spend money, we have extra stuff, right? But I seriously was wondering about getting rid of black magic, curses, and hexes.
Well, oddly enough, there's multiple ways to do it. I started out originally with there's a specific frequency, Dr. Vital Empowerment, that actually has frequency that removes black magic. And so I would use them frequencies a lot to remove black magic, but you can also ask certain archangels will remove it. The purple karmic flame also is for the violet flame is also to remove black magic. It's not just for karmic. And removing hexes and black magic through the the violet karmic flame actually reverses that, and they get their karmic stuff back. So basically, I've learned instead of sending it back to sender, it's better to completely clear it yourself or release it onto source creator and ask him to deal with it, and they'll remove it too. So your angels will remove that for you too. So there's multiple things you can do. It's all intent and the authoritative in your voice. And sometimes you're even stuck in a loop. You might even have an entity messing with you that's pulling on that memory or pulling on a cord like that, making you go into like a loop. And a lot of it is clearing cords and just calling your energy back. A lot of it is simply removing your energy from that person completely, cutting off that line completely, and you're done with it. Sometimes it'll reconnect, but if you're adamant at practicing that and doing it, you should eventually get it to where it doesn't try to connect to you anymore at all. It'll just totally free you.
That makes sense, and it's yeah. Sorry, that was actually a personal question, but I'm just trying to figure out how to put this into practice in my own life because, like, this has been 20 years, and yeah, there's still some bad things that I think that she's directed my way. I'm not going to make an accusation. I'm just speaking from what I understand. And that's the way it feels, as though she has projected something into our reality to cause certain issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it seems Actually, it seems like a root chakra area. I'm checking. Something in my leg is telling me. You have like, yeah, there's like a connection that's affecting your root chakra sometimes. So when you cut and remove that, do a lot of healing and root chakra work, and it should remove all that and fix it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you also explain to the audience some of the basic energetic protections once they've cleared themselves and done the work to basically to stay in tune with themselves and with their system? Like once you've done the clearing, what type of protection should you be practicing and putting out into the universe so you can remain unbothered?
Well, you'll get breaks here and there, but for my perspective, it's a constant practice. You have to like always do it because there's so much coming at you. But then you get to the point to trust and rely on your protection a little more too. And I honestly think the reason I go through it is because they want me to learn it on a personal level because I protect people too. And so it's almost like you're learning to do what your guides do so you can help other people do stuff for themselves. But also, I don't know, it's kind of complicated actually, but you get the gist of it. It starts getting really complicated after a while. Well, it's almost like I'm going through another process working with ascended masters because I am one. Some of us are returning ascended masters, waking up, learning how to do their own job again. It's like you're relearning to remember, plus learn more at the same time.
Yeah, that seems about right because my brain never seems to stop lately. Um, do you think, well, we were talking about this earlier, but do you think that our thoughts and emotions directly affect our reality? Like, if you
Mm-hmm.
project a certain emotional frequency, that's kind of what you're going to draw into yourself, I guess.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I try to keep as positive possible too. And even though I transmute negative energy into positive, I try to keep it positive because that's what you're projecting. If you're negative all the time, you're going to sit in negativity. You're going to bring in negative beings. You're going to bring in hurt creatures. You're going to bring in hurt people. You're going to just going to keep bringing that negativity towards you instead of removing it.
I think that's absolutely right. And like I've had guests on and they just broke it down so simply. It's like it's something we should have had told to us in kindergarten. Like we consist of
Mhm.
energy, and so does pretty much everything in our physical reality. It's some type of energy, and of course, you're going to affect. The example I give is like, have you ever walked into a room and just knew somebody hated you just by the way they looked at you? That's energetic. Like they could feel you coming, and they already did not like you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and I noticed too,
no,
the higher in frequency we get, the more we reflect negative people too. If they got something negative bothering them, it's like we become their reflection, and that's where people freak out and go, "Why is he attacking me?" And a lot of it isn't necessarily intentional. It's literally a reflection because you're bringing out their nasty stuff that they have to work on because we done the work.
I I think that's a lot of it too. Like people can't stand to see where they aren't. I guess I don't know how to word that because I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I really I get what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
see why it bothers people.
Hmm.
Um, Another subject I'd love to get into with you because we've actually talked about it in private before is energy vampires. How do you stop them? How do you sense them? Like somebody that's just there to drain you energetically. How do you really protect yourself from that?
Well, well, for me, I should have had. That's what not everybody has to do this, but it's just my thing. I honestly should have had this gold obsidian on me because it would have protected. She would have been putting all that bad energy on the stone instead of me, and she would have been, messing with the crystals I have instead of my energy directly. It's almost like holding crystals on you protects your stuff, and they end up messing. But that might be me because I'm connected with dragons, so the dragons redirect the energies to other objects, so they're not directly draining me. So you're going to ask your healing support to do that as well. But sometimes it's just as easy as cutting a cord. Like when I'm done with this session, I'll actually do an entire cleansing and remove everything from people and call my energy back. I've learned the biggest thing to stop an energetic vampire is call your energy back, and then they feel drained worse than they started. They'll feel 10 times worse if you call your energy back, because that energy is not meant for them.
Yeah. And with your energy work, I wanted to get your take on this. I had Sonia Roy on not Friday, the Friday before, and she's a Reiki instructor, and she was saying that sometimes if you have a known energy drain in your area, or that you're going to have to interact with, you can actually send them source energy and give them all they need before they can even try to feed off of you. Is that a principle that you've ever seen practiced, where like you almost project, like, I know this person is just going to drain off of me, you can send the intentional energy out before you even have to interact with them, and they have nothing to feed off?
Yeah, that might even been what I did to my mom. I just gave her all of it right away so she'd leave me alone, because I knew I could call it back anyway. So a lot of things my higher self does too. It's subconscious and you don't realize it for a while, and you got to go through a process of figuring it out, because sometimes your subconsciousness plays a key role in doing a lot, because your higher self, believe it or not, is a lot smarter than you think they are. I mean, they get you out of some tough jams pretty good sometimes.
I would agree with that as well. And that's the one thing I actually will take away positively from my QHHT sessions is I asked to be put in contact with my higher self, and it never really completely went away. I'm not saying it's there all the time, but there's been a definite connection made, and it never went away.
Well, you can do stuff too. I've noticed that a lot of times if you start suddenly being real negative, that could even be an attachment trying to attach to you. But some of us are so high in frequency they can't actually attach. They'll just agitate you from like different areas and just bother you until you give up that negative energy, and then it's almost like they coerce you to be in that negative state just to feed off the negativity. So if you're you have thoughts that I'm not normally that negative. What is going on? Wait a minute. And I'll ask my dragons to clear it. I said, there's something bothering me. Or then I'll get to the point where I'll, I work with a youngster dragon, and he's a prankster. He brings in the prank energy all the time. So he's not necessarily a trickster, but he'll bring the energy in. See, and that's what you got to be aware of too. That takes a lot of discernment, but that's knowing yourself too. If you realize something funny is going on and you're like, okay, you got something attached to you, you better get rid of that. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And then before I know it, I'm burping because he's literally listening and getting rid of it. It's so funny. So sometimes you work with young spirits too, and not everybody's tuned in to figure that out yet. But it's a work in progress to figure it out. It takes hard discernment, that's for sure.
I agree, and like that is one of the key factors in all of this is like, even to people that watch my show, I can say take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and please do your own research, because I don't even have a belief system right now. I just have a current understanding of what I think is going on in our reality. So like none of what I'm saying is 100%. It's just what I think is going on. So as long as you have that discernment and ability to accept that things may not, you know, I have a theory on how we exist here, but somebody could tell me something tomorrow that could completely debunk everything I researched, and I welcome it because you know we're constantly learning, and we constantly have to be discerning and learning, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and not one person is going to have the same perspective either. That's what a lot of people don't realize. What if, because I do a lot of things on a higher, different level, and not meaning I'm different than anybody else either. I've just gone through all the process of learning it and letting go. It's a lot of letting go. A lot of it is, letting go of something you thought was this, and then you're like, wait a minute, this energy is this. Like when someone calls it devil energy, sometimes they're simply talking about earth energy, because earth energy is a lower frequency and people misunderstand labels and don't understand what they're talking about. And so that's where you really get in depth learning the different types of energy without a label to figure it out. And then you're like, oh, when they say it's this, is because it's this type of energy doing this. So it's in depth process.
It really is, and I appreciate you being around, because a lot of it is like, okay, what am I supposed to do next? What am I supposed to do next? Because like I'm still going through my awakening. I'm still finding abilities. Like the paper I wrote that's attached to my Facebook, Karen Holton asked me if I thought that this was a simulation or a matrix. And I was like, I don't know. Let me sleep on it. I woke up with a rudimentary understanding of quantum physics and the knowledge of where to find everything I needed to write that paper. I wrote the paper in 45 minutes. And I take zero credit for it. I just typed it. I didn't write it because it was completely channeled or download information or something. But it actually logically explains how we may be living in some type of simulation, that we're biological vessels receiving information from a higher source of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And it broke that down, and I was like, I reread it, I was like, holy shit, did I just write that? And
yeah.
I'd love to hear, do you think we receive an intelligent frequency from a higher source? Like, of course, you were saying we have fractals of other things, but do you think we would receive what some people call source information?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's more than just Akasha records. I think some of us are actually being called to be like a bridge for higher information, trying to get through the rest of the humanity to prepare us for something bigger coming. Because I'm always aware that there's something really big coming, and and it comes in bits and pieces, because we're not supposed to know it all at once, because it's part of our growing. It's how we progress. It's part of the process. Because if you knew it all right away, then you wouldn't get past obstacles that you have to learn, and you wouldn't get past the difference in energies. You would just be like, oh, it's this, and what if it's not that the whole time? It's almost like they have to retrain you because of the intelligence that's changing all the time, that's always trying to go against us and hold us here. And so it's like a multi perspective, so that when we do come together, each one has their own unique perspective to share to everybody, so that we learn from those perspectives and come up with it was meant to create a whole brand new concept, not old. And that's part of us being a creator. We're supposed to create new stuff, not old and refurbished. And I think that's where everyone learns differently.
I think you're absolutely right, and I agree with you 100% that I don't think we're supposed to know everything, because during a hypnosis session, I had a private conversation in my mind. It wasn't even recorded. I asked the practitioner to ask my higher self to, explain reality to me. And I came out of that session and woke up the next day and went, oh, well then
You told
what's the effing point? Right? Like I actually understood how we're here. And I'm like, well, then it seems kind of pointless. And then a few days later, I had this feeling. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be here having the best, most positive experience I can. I'm not supposed to be miserable, and this isn't stupid. Oh, that's what I'm doing here, right? And then it was literally like, yeah, you asked how it worked. You didn't ask what you're supposed to be feeling, what you're supposed to be doing, what this is all
Mhm.
really about. You how it worked. So my higher self explained to me exactly how it works. I didn't ask why or what I'm supposed to be doing or what I'm supposed to be feeling.
Mm.
I had to learn that myself. And there was
Right?
about 3 days where I was just miserable in my own existence because I was like, well, this whole reality is stupid then. Right. And
Right?
I was like, oh, wait, no, it's not. I'm supposed to be here doing good shit. I'm supposed to be having a good time. Right. Okay, I
Well,
get it now.
well, and I think what we're doing is we're merging. This is the problem with arguing with perspective. Everyone trying to be the same is they don't realize that we're individuals and we all individually create. I honestly think we're creating this chaos ourselves because we're not trying to be our individual person. You're trying to absorb someone else's information that's not meant for you to be able to do. Each person has their own skill set, and the more you go into someone else's reality, you lose a part of yourself trying to be too much of that person. It's about learning through someone else's experience to try to figure out your own what works for you, not what they can do. See, everyone is always trying to copy me and do what I do, and I'm just like, well, yes, I can share and explain the frequency, but if your system, if your guides don't work well with frequency, either I need to work with your guides and help them understand, or it's something not meant for you to learn that way and you have to find a new tool. So, you know what I mean?
That
We're all programmed a certain way, and if my tools don't work, then you got to figure it out yourself through my experience and perspective to dig through each one and try it, not just to dismiss, say, oh, that's not for me either. So sometimes you got to pick apart what resonates and what don't. And that's the part of discernment. Is this going to work with my tools? Like that's why I work with multiple tools to figure out who can help who. That's even harder because not one person, except for the only thing that seems to be really, really familiar is because of us all being energy. You would assume all frequency would work too, but sometimes I think some have frequencies that are lower than others. So this frequency might hurt this person, you know. So it's really a trial and error to figure it out.
I I think that's about the best explanation I've heard of it, to be honest. I just want to address something. John Supp said nice hat. It might not be the hat you think it is. Yeah, it's not like anything great. It's I'm here to fuck shit up. So,
Oh, that's funny.
sorry, I just didn't want anybody to think it was one of those red and white hats. I actually had this hat far before those red and white hats came out. So,
See,
and I
good to
ain't on any
clarify.
side of that fence. What's
Good to
that?
clarify. Good to clarify.
Yes, completely non-political. Oh,
Yeah. I don't even go
so,
that route, period. I try not to. It's too much of a circus act.
oh, absolutely. It really is an act. Like, and sorry, I am gonna get political for a second because this community exhausts me sometimes. I see some of the
Mhm.
most intelligent people buying into the political play, and it's like left or right wing. You guys know it's the same vulture stealing your food, right? Like, I just want to, but I don't. I just,
Yep.
and I'm like, but
Mm.
guys, come on, stop it.
Right? And honestly, politics have absolutely no place in humanity whatsoever. It does nothing for growth of humanity. It's created to cause chaos and push you down. And it's
Ab-
like,
Absolutely.
distractions from self, distractions from learning, distractions from distraction in general, from everything it's for.
I agree. Before we wrap up for the day here, do you want to tell everybody what you have going on your channel and about your Patreon and about your services and all of that great stuff? Because I know you offer a lot.
Oh, I do. I even added a new tier. I'm going to start health, physical. Oh, well, I got to remember what I called it. Physical, but let's see. Physical vessel integration of energy, like to create another health topic, health wise, for balancing everything. Basically, I'm going to go through, and again, this is what resonates and what don't, through this entire process of why I have to have supplements, why I have to do certain things and eat certain food. You really have to have a balance of everything in order for this energy to keep it. That's why I'm so conductive in the first place. I went through that intuitive process of figuring out what works. And really, the more energy you bring in and the more energy you put out, it does create a toll on your physical. And so I have to actually drink way more water than I should. I'm working on it, but I've noticed also that I've unlocked so much that I can absorb water through my energy and hydrate myself. That's a new one.
Like osmosis.
Yeah, I can like absorb it. I'll put my hand, even standing by the bath. It's, I think it's dragons, but some of them dragons might be just my plasma energy, because I can feel them wrap around me from the bathtub when I go walk in there, because I'll have water sitting in the bathtub, and I'll suddenly be like, feel more revived and energized and feel like I just drank a glass of water.
That is very cool.
Uh-huh.
You are just unlocked so much about yourself in this reality. It's fascinating to watch. Like it really is. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much I talk to a lot of my guests outside of the show, and you're no, like, you and I actually developed a friendship out of doing shows and meeting on Rob's channel. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just become a great pleasure to know a lot of you, and like some of the advice and the things that you guys have taught me have helped me exponentially, and I can't thank you guys enough. So
Well, and that's just one tier. That one I put at $15 because it's coinciding. I know it seems kind of spendy for some for just health information, but it's going to be extensive. I'll post a variety of things that's going to connect to what I do with my chakra studies, which that's what I do. I have a $50 tier for just the chakra system, and I'm going to start posting like a whole bunch of the chakra stuff for 1 month for just one chakra at a time, and build it up, because it's so much information for just one. So I figured I would fill a whole month with just the root chakra to start with, and then even 1 month on all about your energy. And it's basically a tier for all that. That's why it's so expensive. And then I even just now created a $60 tier, which that's actually going to include everything from the bottom up for my $20 and all the way up to the top. It will include everything in that top tier, so you get everything for your money and save $5.
that is amazing. And yeah, like, absolutely go check this out because it's very, very valuable information, and I would definitely say worth the money. Um, Aside from that, I'm gonna wrap up for tonight and thank everybody. And you brought some amazing friends with you in the chat. They have just been blowing it up all night. So thank you everybody in the chat, and thank you for the funny comments, and for digging the hat. Uh, I usually don't do this, but I was recently gifted a screener copy of Chris Matthews' upcoming well, actually it's been released now, sorry, second documentary, Forbidden documentary, Doors of Perception, and I'm going to run the trailer after it. You guys can stick around and watch it if you want. It is an absolutely phenomenal film, and it's available for rent or download now, and just full of great information. So, like I always say, if you can go outside, please do, because it's a lot better than being stuck in front of a screen. And if you want to stick around for the trailer, please do. Jayme, I will message you, or if you want to stick around, we can talk right after. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
The nature of this experience seems to always be just beyond the reach of our science, technology, and consciousness collective.
There's layers upon layers upon layers.
It does add such an element of mystery to this place.
Why are we here?
We're getting closer to the truth now.
There's too many people experiencing profound interactions with conscious entities.
I'm focused on the non-human intelligence contact phenomenon in dreams. Dreams involve interactions with real entities.
People are waking up paralyzed. They're sensing or seeing something very evil in the room.
I have experienced sleep paralysis. Shadow people start to appear.
I was taken from my earliest memories by non-human alien entities. More and more people are wanting to talk about these things.
A ufologist would say, well, that's obviously an extraterrestrial. And a paranormal researcher would say, well, that's a ghost. Well, what if it's all of those things and none of those things? The entities, the intelligence that were just beyond our understanding.
There seems to be something a little extra that can take forms of anything.
I can't believe what I've seen, but it continues on a daily basis. We're definitely not alone. UFOs, UAPs, portals opening up.
I've lived with all this supernatural stuff. You kind of grow up with that around here. You see a lot of strange things. I don't like to talk about skinwalkers too much.
I had an experience with a skinwalker entity.
People, they would say they would transform into bears, into wolves. There's these bad things that occur. Ghosts, UFOs, and all types of things coming from somewhere.
Our beliefs, our emotions, and our fears all seem to heavily influence the nature of these experiences.
There is so much more that we just don't have time for in this busy, loud, noisy life that we lead.
All of this is planned. Everything is synchronicity.
There's so much more out there. We really are picking up such a small percentage of the electromagnetic spectrum.
The world is an amazing place.
It feels like we're gods in training.